Hello students, this is Anuradha Kakodkar, Associate Professor, St. Xavier's College, Mapsa, Goa. The title of this unit is Understanding Crime and Criminal Psychology. The module name is Crime and Justice in India, Governance and Coercion in India. This is part of the program of Bachelor of Arts, 3rd year BA, Subject Psychology, Semester 5, Paper Code PSD 104, and the paper title is Criminal Psychology. The outline of the lecture: an overview of governance in India, central and state government division of police functions, police hierarchy, crime and justice in the state of Bihar, political interference in police functioning. At the end of this video, you should be able to understand the nature of the criminal justice system in India, examine the powers of the police, analyze political interference in the functioning of the criminal justice system, and evaluate the functioning of the police and administration with special reference to the state of Bihar. India is a parliamentary democracy in which all the states and union territories are administered by a central government in New Delhi. The Constitution of India defines areas that come under the jurisdiction of the centre and the states. Law and order is a state subject. However, legislation pertaining to law and order is passed by both the central and the state governments. The responsibility of the criminal justice functions such as enforcement of law, maintenance of order, prosecution, sentencing, punishment, and collection of intelligence are the responsibility of the respective state governments. The police administration is controlled by the Home Ministry both at the centre and the states. Each state government runs the police administration and the recruitment and training of police officers at the middle and lower levels. However, the upper levels of the police force belong to the IPS or the Indian Police Service, generally headed by a Director General of Police and assisted by Inspector General and or Deputy Inspector General. IPS officers are assigned to the cadre of a particular state. Each district in a state has a superintendent of police in charge, and below this are Deputy Superintendent of Police, Inspector General, Sub-Inspector, Head Constable, and Constable. This organizational structure may slightly differ from one state to another. Within the police force, power is hierarchical and centralized, with control, command, and decision-making concentrated at the top. Junior supervisory levels are under constant supervision of the higher-ups. Police stations report to higher authorities, and a reverse flow of orders and commands are directed from higher levels to the lower ranks in the hierarchy. The citizens come into direct contact with the police due to various powers that the police yield. 1. The police have the powers to restrict a particular activity alleged to be detrimental to the maintenance of law and order, restricting movement of persons, for example, restricting movement of persons during the COVID-19 lockdown. Government jobs require certification of good conduct and non-involvement in criminal behavior from the local police authorities. Third, issuance of passport is dependent on police verification of the antecedents of an applicant. Fourth, the police also have licensing powers, wherein a police clearance is needed to operate various activities or businesses. While the citizens expect quick and impartial action from the police in the event of crimes or breaking of law, the coercive nature of the police machinery has been misused by the people in power in order to push forward their own agenda of staying in control. The malaise of politicization of the Indian police has corroded the very fabric of criminal justice. Successive governments and political parties have made use of the police for serving their own vested interests and to enhance their power. Elected representatives of the people exercise their power and glamour through police escorts and uniformed officers who guard them. In the guise of administrative measures to maintain peace, police impose restrictions and force the citizens to suffer their coercive action. The bureaucracy and the police serve the people in power rather than being of service to the people. This phenomenon has been witnessed throughout the country. However, nowhere is it so pronounced as in the state of Bihar. Bihar is a state in India which is rich in its agricultural and mineral wealth. Yet, it is a backward state characterized by poverty with low levels of life expectancy, low literacy rate, and low school enrollment. Despite the fact that the state of Bihar is well represented by members of parliament, the benefits have been reaped by a few and have not reached its people. Social relationships in the state are dominated by caste, and the system of bonded labor or begar continues unchecked. Over the years, political parties have pitted one section of the people against another to maintain their hold over power. A number of laws enacted by the government in the name of equity, fairness, and for equitable distribution of resources have remained only on paper. For example, in 1950, Bihar was the first state to pass the Land Reforms Act, which placed a ceiling on land holdings so as to redistribute land among the poor. However, the bureaucracy was controlled and forced to negate such efforts. On the contrary, land records were destroyed, manipulated, transferred in fictitious or benami names, even that of their dogs and horses. The landless people who attempted to challenge the fraud were brutally attacked and killed. Several other legislations to bring in a more egalitarian society have met with a similar fate. The state has witnessed innumerable clashes between various factions of society and has been polarized into upper castes and lower castes. Over the years, innumerable atrocities have been perpetrated against the poor by armed gangs of the rich and powerful. They have taken the form of looting property, setting entire hamlets ablaze, molestation of women, and murder. Maoist and ultra-left extremist groups have taken advantage of the situation and exploited the poor as well as targeted upper castes. Considerable violence has occurred on both sides. The people are afraid of and at the mercy of corrupt administration, Naxalites, and other armed gangs, and also of police brutality. The state is known for considerable crime, corruption, mismanagement, insecurity, and anarchy. There exists a total mismatch between the rule of law and the state of Bihar. While the coercive nature of the police is misused by politicians, the police also face numerous challenges in carrying out their duties. Policing makes huge demands on the mental, emotional, and physical capabilities of the personnel. The day-to-day interference in police functioning by politicians has rendered them unable to function fairly or impartially or act in the best interests of the people. Police officers are brazenly used for political objectives and also to target their rivals. On the one hand, police are unable to act against known offenders who enjoy political patronage, and on the other, police chiefs are unable to discipline officers who are politically connected. The police are at the mercy of unscrupulous politicians who may threaten them or transfer them to undesirable locations in case they disobey orders from those in power. Promotions are based on political considerations, and corruption is rampant. There is a striking nexus between criminals and politicians. While politicians approach criminals for muscle power to intimidate opponents, criminals in return seek protection from law through the intervention of politicians. It is appalling to note that a large number of criminals have moved from the underworld into politics. Some even became ministers, wielding power over the police officers who investigated and prosecuted their cases. In 2019, 43% of elected Lok Sabha members in Bihar were reported to face criminal charges. The criminalization of politics has been a dangerous trend, and the rule of law and accountability of the government are non existent. Although Bihar seems to be a divergence from normality, the situation in other states of the country is no different. Throughout the length and breadth of India, the ruling elites have used coercion through the police and thwarted good governance. Criminalization of politics and politicization of police stand out as serious problems to good governance. After so many decades since independence of the nation from foreign rule, governments have failed to provide its citizens with a sense of justice and security. These are the references. Thank you.